everyone. Today I will be doing an oral interpretation speech and will be performing an excerpt from Jay Asher's novel 13 Reasons Why that was published in 2007. As you guys probably know, it's also a Netflix original series that just came out in March, so I'm going to try not to do any spoilers for those of you that are still watching it. And if you have seen it, I'm sure you know it's an amazing piece. But for those of you who haven't, it centers around a 16-year-old girl named Hannah Baker who has recently committed suicide and decides to tell her story via cassette tape to 12 of her classmates who she believes are responsible for her death. Don't worry, Zach. You never left anything mean in my bag. I know that. But what you did do was worse. But first, let's go back a few days. Let's go back to Rosie's. I just sat here in the booth where Marcus left me, staring into an empty milkshake glass. His side of the bench was probably still warm because he only left a minute ago. When up walked Zach, and down he sat. I pretended not to notice him, not because I had anything against him, but because my heart and my trust was collapsing. Like a vacuum in my chest, like every nerve in my body was withering in, pulling away from my fingers and my toes. Pulling back and disappearing, I sat, and the more that I thought, connecting the events in my life, the more that my heart collapsed. Zach was sweet. He went on letting me ignore him until it became almost comical. I knew he was there, of course. He was practically staring at me. And eventually, melodramatically, he cleared his throat. I lifted my hand onto the table, and touched the base of the glass. That was the only sign he was going to get that I was listening. He asked if I was all right, and I forced myself to nod, but my eyes kept staring at the glass, through the glass, at the spoon. And I kept thinking over and over again, is this what it feels like to be insane, or to go insane? Zach said, I'm sorry for whatever just happened right now. I felt my head continue to nod as if it were attached to heavy springs, but I couldn't bring myself to tell him that I appreciated his words. He offered to buy me another milkshake, but I couldn't hold another response. Was I unable to talk, or did I just not want to talk? I don't know. Part of me thought he was hitting on me, ready to use the fact that I was alone to ask me out. And it's not that I completely believe that, but why should I trust him? And the waitress dropped off the bill and took the empty glass away. Soon, getting nothing out of me, Zach put a few bucks on the table and returned to his friends. My eyes began tearing up, but I could not break the stare from the small wet circle where the glass had been. If I even tried to utter a single word, I knew that I would have lost it. Or had I already lost it? I can tell you this. At the table, the worst thoughts in the world first came to my head. It's there that I started to consider. To just consider. A word that I still cannot say to this day. I know you came to my rescue that day, Zach. But we all know, before we continue, that that's not why you're on this tape. So I've got one question for you. Why would you ever throw that back in someone's face when you try and rescue them? For the past several days or weeks, or however long it took you to get these tapes, Zach, you probably thought no one would find out. You probably got sick to your stomach when you heard what I did that day. But the more time that went by, the better you probably felt. The more likely it is that no one would know your secret, that it died with me. No one knew, and no one would ever find out.